It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure of up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.
Disclaimer: this broadcast is intended for commentary, discussion, and entertainment purposes only. All topics and statements are based on publicly available information, including news reports, social media content, and third-party sources, which may include allegations or unverified claims. The views expressed are opinions and should not be interpreted as confirmed facts. This content is not intended to harm, defame, misrepresent any individual, organization, or entity. Viewer discretion is advised. What's good, YouTube family? Welcome to the Weekly Rain Report. This is a different edition. We're going to do a late night edition. Midweek, almost midweek type deal. So if you're here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. I want to start. We have a lot to talk about. I am going to talk about a update with the Nolan Wells investigation that's going on. I'm also going to get into the ICE shooting that happened in Maine. And let's see what else I got going on for y'all. Over a student pilot, she had to land her plane after her instructor's death. So we're going to get into that as well. We're going to talk about Jay-Z and that security breach that they had at the Yankee Stadium for his for his concert. We're going to get into that. Also, in Wellness Watch, we're going to talk about this Cyclospora outbreak. And Taco Bell is suspending some of its menu because of that. We're going to also talk about here in Georgia, Warnock. He backed housing restrictions, and they have now become federal law. So we're going to get into that as well. And of course, I'm going to do a World Cup semifinal update. And to close it out, we're going to do a soul reset on a 4-year-old who he is bringing his neighborhood together. So some feel good news at the end of the show. So we're going to get into this breaking news. I'm not going to delay it. So let's get into this breaking news, y'all. All right. So I have some updated information as of this morning from ABC News in regard to the Nolan Wells case. The Sheriff Ledbetter, a lot of people are not satisfied with his current investigation, nor am I, and that's my personal opinion. He, for the first time, he has publicly confirmed that his department has been in contact with the FBI as investigators work to determine what happened to Wells on Mississippi's Horn Island. So now I got to report it accurately, right? So the sheriff did not announce that the FBI has taken over the investigation or if they're open a separate federal case yet. At this stage, authorities have confirmed communication with the agency and other law enforcement partners as they examine the evidence, interview witnesses, and evaluate information submitted by the public. Wells disappeared during a it's been all over the news. I'll give a little quick recap. He disappeared during a 4th of July boating trip with friends. His body was unfortunately recovered near Horn Island 2 days later. Authorities initially said that there was no obvious evidence of foul play, but The official cause of and manner of death remain dependent on the completed autopsy, toxicology testing, and the broader investigation. Okay. Sheriff Ledbetter says that Nolan's friends and numerous other witnesses have been interviewed. Investigators are also asking anyone who was on Horn Island that weekend to provide original photographs, videos, messages, or firsthand information. The island presents unique investigative challenges because, cell phone service is limited out there. There's no surveillance cameras, and investigators have to reconstruct Nolan's final hours largely through just witness statements, right? And digital evidence. So, civil rights attorney Ben Crump has been retained by Nolan's family. We all know that. That's all been all over the news. And he has questioned whether the initial assumptions were made too quickly. The family has also requested an independent examination. The key development tonight is that the federal resources may now be available to this investigation. But right now, the FBI's exact role has not been publicly defined. So for Nolan's family, the demand remains simple, not speculation, not rumors, but a complete timeline supported by evidence. And until that timeline is established, this case remains open, active, and under public scrutiny, right? So I'm going to get to a few of these comments that are in the comment section, and then we're going to go over to ABC News Good Morning America for the segment where Sheriff Ledbetter said that they are in talks with federal investigators. So Jamarcus Teen said, "Who are you? I am Soft Rain. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You might like the content you see. Hit the like button. Make sure you hit the share button as well. If you are catching this on the rewatch, make sure you leave your comments down in the comment section. I talk back." So the Epic Player, welcome in the Epic Player. He said, "Oh, Brody Bro, welcome in." He said, "Hi, my name is Pooh." All right, then, Pooh. Welcome in. And Penny. Hey, Penny. What's up, Penny? I'm glad you're here. It's good to see a familiar face. So I'm going to go ahead and play this segment from Good Morning America, where Sheriff Ledbetter said that they will start to bring in or have been in talks. This is not official now, y'all, but they have been in talks with the FBI to possibly help push along the investigation. So let me get that pulled up for y'all. And let me know if y'all can hear it, because I got a new setup going on and I haven't gone live with my new little earphones and all that. So let me pull that up. Let's see. So y'all be patient. Let me know if y'all can hear it, okay?
Tursky spoke with him and visited Horn Island, where Wells was last seen alive. Aaron joined us from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, Michael. It is now 10 days since Nolan Wells was last seen alive, and the mystery over his death is fueling speculation and mistrust. It's putting pressure on the authorities, but the sheriff told us he wants to be thorough, not fast. This morning, with a community clamoring for answers about the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells during a July 4th boat trip with friends, the sheriff is asking for help and pleading for patience.
I think it's important that we don't put ourselves on a timetable and that we don't rush ourselves. But I do think it's important to be diligent in gathering all the facts. That's what the family deserves.
Wells never returned from a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The very thing that makes Horn Island such an idyllic spot to hang out for the day is what makes the case tricky for investigators. There's nothing here. There are no phones, there are no cameras, there's no police. It's why authorities have asked anyone who was here July 4th with Nolan Wells to come forward.
Even if you may think that it might be insignificant, every little bit helps. And that may be a bigger contribution than you think to this case.
Could be a public tip that breaks it open for you.
Exactly.
A close friend of Wells, Trayston Shepard, says the group spent the day swimming and drinking.
Well, we were just having fun all day, and then as the day went on, people started to drink more and people started to get more drunk.
We asked the sheriff whether drinking or drugs played a role in Wells's death.
Of course, the rumors are out there, but we don't respond to rumors. We respond to facts.
And as investigators attempt to build a full timeline of the teen's movements and whereabouts that weekend, this photo showing Wells at a pool party has been circulating widely online and has been shared by his family's attorney. ABC News confirming it was taken a week before he visited Horn Island. Authorities initially suspect Wells drowned, although the results of autopsies by both officials and the one the family ordered are pending. On our visit to the island, we heard from a local boat captain about how the scenic haven could quickly turn treacherous.
Down there at the end of the west end of the island, there's a current that can, get you really quick, and it gets deep.
So if you're an experienced swimmer,
We'll talk about it, Penny.
even that area of the island could be a little dodgy?
Yes, especially with the current down there at the very end. It kind of eddies. If you're out there trying to swim that deep, yeah.
His parents are now planning a funeral for their son, which his mother, Christine, posted overnight, guys, does not feel real. She said all of her emotions are running together, and her post concluded, "We miss you so much, Nolan." It looks like that funeral is going to be early next week at one of the big convention centers here. Guys.
And Aaron, is there any indication when the coroner's report will be made available, which could shed some light?
It sure could, Robin, and there's a lot riding on that coroner's report, but there's no telling when it's going to be made public. There were no obvious signs of trauma that investigators saw right away. That's why they've suspected that he drowned, but they still aren't sure exactly why or what led up to that death. And that's why they're counting on the medical examiner's report, the toxicology report, and the independent autopsy that the family is demanding.
Yeah. Need those questions answered. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks to you for being there on the coast, Aaron. Thank you.
Okay, so that was from ABC News. I'm going to pull up another one right quick. That is, let me pull it up for y'all. Hold on 1 second. I think he gives like a little statement saying that they're going to go with outside help because that one didn't give me what I wanted what I initially heard. So hold on 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Okay, Penny, I'm gonna talk to you about. He said he didn't realize that Horn Island was underdeveloped. Yeah, there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. It's just a piece of land, and we can pull that up too, Penny, and then I'll move on from this because I don't want to keep y'all too long tonight. So hold on 1 second. Let me I'm gonna pull up. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. This is from, okay, so this, what y'all just saw is from Good Morning America. So that's nationwide news. This is from the local news source there. So let me, I'm going to pull this one up. Let's see. There you go. That's what I want to click on. So this one is from the local news that's there. So they might have a little bit more insight. So we'll play this one, and then Penny, I like to look up stuff. So we're gonna look up the what exactly Horn Island is in a few minutes. Once we hear this one.
His body was found on Horn Island. As the country sits and waits for the investigations to conclude, many questions are still left to be answered. Today, I spoke with Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter on where the investigation stands. Speculation continues as to what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells over Independence Day weekend. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter met with WLOX to give what updates he could. However, considering
this investigation is active, it's ongoing,
he wasn't able to confirm much.
My bad, y'all. Hold on. Technical difficulties. We gonna get to it in just 1 second. My finger clicked the wrong button. It did. It really did. Hang on, y'all. I'm gonna pull it back up. My bad, y'all. Here we go. I'm getting it together, y'all. Okay, so this is we're going to do this again. This is from the local news station there that's close, and this is not a nationwide news. So sometimes they give a more detailed explanation about what might be going on down that way. Let me add this to the screen. There we go.
Wells' body was found on Horn Island. As the country sits and waits for the investigations to conclude, many questions are still left to be answered. Today, I spoke with Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter on where the investigation stands. Speculation continues as to what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells over Independence Day weekend. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter met with WLOX to give what updates he could. However, considering
This investigation is active. It's ongoing.
he wasn't able to confirm much, Ledbetter did confirm that interviews have been conducted with witnesses and the department has been in contact with other departments and agencies, including the FBI. The investigation has benefited from information brought by the community.
This recent week, we've got a lot of valuable information that has come from the public. We put out a call to action last week for that information, and it has been very productive for us.
Many are preparing for the return of Wells' autopsy. However, toxicology testing is conducted by outside laboratories, and the analysis and review process can take several weeks. A spokesperson for the Mississippi Department of Public Safety states every case is unique and deserves a thorough review. Therefore, cases cannot all be handled the same way or in the same timeline. While theories circle social media, those who are close to Nolan are still waiting for closure, as one friend spoke in an ABC interview.
I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let the facts be shown. And if the fact shows that somebody harmed Nolan, I hope that there is justice brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn that. So that's what I'm just waiting patiently to see before I think anything else. I just know I've lost my best friend.
Okay, so we don't need that. That's coming up later on. So I'm gonna remove this. And Penny, we're gonna dive into Penny. Are you still here? We're gonna dive into Horn Island because a lot of people don't realize what kind of island Horn Island is. So we'll do this and then we'll move on to the next segment. So there you heard Sheriff Ledbetter say that they are seeking more information from or more I'm going to say advice from outside resources like the FBI. It is not confirmed, so do not quote me on that. It's not confirmed. So hopefully maybe they'll bring in some of the guidance of the FBI and help them organize the investigation better than what it has been and maybe light a fire under it, because I feel, as a mother myself, I feel that the sheriff's office has been nonchalant when it comes to this investigation. So I'm going to pull up this one. This is back from 2020, Penny. So, but this is a video I found on YouTube with a quick search that talks about Horn Island. Okay, so let me, I'm going to pull this one up. Let's see.
So we are heading into the weekend, and as always, every Friday at 6, our Walt Grayson has a story for us as he focuses on Mississippi.
Now, we're traveling about as far south as you can go in Mississippi and still be on dry land. And Walt, I am assuming we're going beyond Gulfport and Biloxi.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're going to the land where Gulf Coast artist Walter Anderson found so much inspiration. How about let's take a trip out to Horn Island. Horn Island is a part of the Gulf Islands National Seashore, so it, along with several other barrier islands, are a national park. It's also a national wilderness area. There's nothing man-made on Horn Island except a ranger cabin somewhere near the middle, and there's not always a ranger there. Anything else you might need, you have to bring it with you. And, of course, take it back when you leave. Horn Island is several miles long, but less than a mile wide at its widest point. And to the north is the Mississippi Sound. The water and the beaches there look about like they do on the Gulf Coast. But to the south is the Gulf of Mexico, and the water and beaches there look more like what you're used to in Florida, sugar white sand and turquoise water. Well, it's like that on a sunny day. Now, when a storm is brewing, the sea turns leaden gray, the waves are angry, and it's a powerful place just to stand and watch. There's a symmetry to a lot of nature on Horn Island, so I can see where Walter Anderson gets the idea for the repeated rhythms and patterns that we see in so much of his work. And the pine trees on Horn really do look like the ones Anderson renders in his watercolors. I thought they were caricatures until I saw the real pines, but that's what they look like. Sort of like spindly pines of Rome in Italy. Artists still come out to Horn Island for inspiration, alone sometimes, as members of groups a lot. They may stay overnight or a week or more. The day breaks silently with a whisper on the breeze and uncertainty in the air. It may be gray or it may be sunny, but each kind of weather brings out its own personality and traits on the island. At nighttime, you make of it what you want. A luau, a ritual dance around the fire, an unveiling of the day's artistic work. Even firing pottery at night takes on a special flavor on Horn Island. I'll admit, I'm not that much of an outdoorsman. I mean, my idea of roughing it's when the air conditioner in the hotel room keeps waking me up when it cycles on and off. But if I were an artist, especially one who specialized in capturing nature and realizing it in my work, I'd be on Horn Island tonight. Well, you go to Horn Island, Google it, or the Gulf Islands National Seashore, get more information about going out to Horn Island. But it really is just you and nature and whatever you brought in your backpack when you go out there.
So there you go, Penny. It's just an island. They do have a ranger cabin on there, but there's not a ranger that's on there all the time. So remote, away from civilization, about 10 miles off the shore of Mississippi. So there you go. So hopefully, in the coming days, especially once they get the autopsy report back, the family can get closure on how Nolan passed and the actual timeline of the actual events that led up to his death. Classic said, "Perfect island to get away with it." I mean, yeah, I agree, Classic. Totally agree. Penny says, "So we have unsupervised kids alone in a remote setting with hormones going wild. Only the people that were on that island know what went down." And it's sad. It is so sad that it has taken this long. That this still continues to go on. My heart breaks for his mother, his family, his father, because from what I'm hearing, the way his mom described her son and people around him, he was a good soul. He had a good soul. Good soul. So if you are catching this on a rewatch, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave your comments, your thoughts down in the comments. Penny said, "Do we even know if there was anyone over 21 out there?" Supposedly some of the boat captains, and there was a parent, if I'm not mistaken, on the boat that don't mark my words, on the boat that Nolan and his friends rode out on and came back with, if I'm not mistaken. Classic, I know you have been diving into this a little bit deeper than I have as far as details and whatnot. Do you remember if any details came out about who was on the boat with them? Was there an adult there on the boat with them? And granted, too, I will say this, a lot of these, they say kids, or well, you said 21 and over. A lot of these young adults were out there, 18 plus, I would say. There were probably very few people out there that were under 18, if I'm not mistaken. Penny says, "So no head count was done before returning home." Penny, it's been a lot of speculation on whether he left the island with the same folks he came with, whether they whether he told them, "Hey, I'm going to ride back with somebody else. I'm staying out here." It's been a lot of speculation back and forth. Ted said, "Get away from Horny Island." So, unfortunately, without anyone coming forward with the details, the honest details that went on, I'm hoping that somebody has it in their heart to say, "Hey, this is what really happened." Classic said the boats have captains from what I've learned. Okay. Do you know if there was an adult on there plus the captain? Javon stated they left. So they left without him. Penny said it sounded like a Sandals commercial. Yeah, Javon. So they left without him. the boat that he came in on, they left without him. So yeah, my heart hurts for his mom and his dad, the whole family. Yeah, so I'm going to conclude this segment because we can go on and on forever. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with no, they all. Classic said no, they all left. So everybody, so they're saying everybody left and Nolan stayed. Javon ain't come with it. Oh, okay. So the best friend left him on a remote island. That's wild. I don't think CJ. I think he's separate. Penny. I think he's separated from Javon. Like they didn't even go together. That's to say, Javon didn't pull up with Nolan. Right. They didn't go together. He saw it then. Okay, so they rode on different boats. And yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this because we can, like I said, we can stay on this forever and continue to talk about it. But I'm gonna move because I got a bunch of segments. I'm gonna move forward to my next segment, which is what is my next segment, y'all? Let me look at my notes. I'm gonna do radar investigates. So y'all hang tight. Let me switch up. Did it just stream or acting funny? I can't roll. Hold on, y'all. My StreamYard is acting funny. Really, StreamYard? I can't roll my media assets. It's not letting me roll my media assets. Assets. What? Let me do this. It's still not letting me do it. Well, y'all, I guess the banner at the bottom is going to continue to say breaking news because it's not letting me roll my media assets. Okay. Technical difficulties. We're going to go ahead and get to these before I move on. Then Classic said Javon saw Nolan there and was speaking to him. He went to go break up a fight and came back to where Nolan was and saw they were gone, Nolan included. So that indicates that Nolan got on the boat with them unless Nolan took a walk on the other side of the island. It played the intro. Yeah, I know it played the intro, but I'm missing my banners at the bottom, Penny. Enlarge your screen and minimize. Okay, let me see. Let me see if that'll work. It's still not letting me scroll my media asset. Even if I change my brands, it's still not letting me scroll it. I wonder if I duplicate the brand. It's not letting me move the screen up and down in media access. Like I can do it in the comment section. You know how you roll up and down? But it's not letting me do it in my media assets to it's there, but it's like I can see it, but it's not letting me scroll. The scroll bar is gone for some reason. StreamYard be acting funny. Okay, StreamYard. Yeah. I cracked that code. I might test. I'm gonna finish up my show. And then I'll probably be up. I took a nap, so I'll probably be up for a little while. You going on? You doing nightcap tonight, test? Let me know. I hate that is not working right for me, y'all. Y'all know I like to have my show organized. It's not scrolling, y'all. It's not scrolling. Rain, blow yourself up on the screen completely, then minimize yourself back to the food with your tools. It would allow you. Like, okay, like maximize the whole screen. Okay. There I go. Looking beautiful as ever. Rain. Oh, thank you, Classic. See, sometimes you gotta details. Appreciate it, Classic. Appreciate it. All right, so let's get rolling. Appreciate it, Classic. You came in clutch. Claiming clutch. Nightcap. Okay, I'm gonna be tuning in, Tez. It's a quick fix. And it did. It fixed it quickly. So let's try this again, y'all. We're gonna move on to radar investigates. So let's try this again. Here we go. Okay. Radar under investigation. Let me take you down, Tez. Appreciate you, Classic. Came in clutch on the fix for StreamYard. But why is it still? There we go. Okay, y'all. So for radar investigates. Radar under investigation. Student pilot lands alone after instructor's death. So imagine learning to fly when you're the person sitting beside you, the person responsible for guiding you safely back to ground is suddenly gone. That became reality for a 22-year-old student pilot in Argentina after authorities say her flight instructor jumped from their aircraft during a training flight. The student and 42-year-old instructor Leandro Bertazzo had taken off near Cordoba in a Cessna 150, a small two-seat aircraft commonly used for flight instruction. During that flight, investigators say that he unfastened himself and exited the aircraft without a parachute. Reports indicate that shortly before leaving, he told his student that she knew what to do and she should continue moving forward. The student was now alone in the cockpit with limited flight experience and no instructor to correct the mistake. She contacted air traffic personnel, followed instructions, maintained control of the aircraft, and successfully landed at Colonel Alameda Airport. So aviation professionals have praised her ability to manage what pilots describe as an extreme workload, controlling the plane, navigating towards the runway, communicating by radio, and also managing the emotional shock of what just had happened. He was later found dead in the field. Authorities are investigating the death as an apparent self-unaliving. We'll say that. A flight school official says his family reported that he had recently experienced mental health difficulties and had consulted a psychiatrist. However, investigators have not publicly established what led to his actions that day. The story is both a tragedy and an extraordinary example of emergency training becoming real. For aviation schools, it may also prompt difficult conversations about instructor wellness, reporting systems, and what protections exist when a pilot's mental health deteriorates. So the young student survived because she did not surrender to panic. In the most unimaginable moment of her training, she relied on what she had learned and safely brought herself back to the ground. How do y'all feel about that? I would panic. Classic saving the day. Yes, he did. He saved the day. Tez Down said, when flight instructors are self-deleting, you know the economy is bad. Penny said, wow, that's crazy. He got skeletons for sure. Now there's more to it. There was pressure. Tess said they want to have conversations instead of just breaking the instructors off a bigger chunk of those tuition fees. Yeah. Yeah. I would think so. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I think I got a video for this one too. Hold on, y'all. Did I pull? Maybe not. Did I? I thought I did have a video for this one. Let's see. Got other stuff pulled up everywhere else. Wait a minute. Yeah, here it is. Hold on. And it was on July 4th as well. So I'll pull this up. Share. There we go. And it's a long video, so we're just gonna hear the first little part of it, and then we're gonna keep moving. But I thought it was interesting that he felt okay, but he felt okay enough to do this in front of her. I wonder why he felt that way. He felt okay enough to do this in front of her. Comfortable enough to, I guess being selfish of unaliving your self-deletion, then I personally I call it being selfish for the most part. I do have I have dealt with that personally in my life with family members and whatnot. But yeah. So we're gonna listen in and see what they initially say about it. And then we'll move on to some other stuff.
Hundred feet above the countryside near Toledo, Argentina, a 22-year-old student pilot suddenly found herself all alone and at the controls of a Cessna 150 single-engine aircraft, which was more than strange because just moments earlier, her 42-year-old instructor, Leandro Andres Bertazzo, had removed his headset, unbuckled his seatbelt, and calmly told her, "You know what to do." Then he opened the door, and he jumped and disappeared below. His body was found later in a field, and of course, he did not survive. However, sadly for the student pilot as well as her instructor's loved ones, what had begun as a routine training lesson instantly became an emergency no student pilot or any pilot should ever have to face. Landing the aircraft alone while in shock and without the instructor who was supposed to be there to guide her. But thankfully, she did just that. Greetings everybody, Maximus here. Well, today we're looking at a very tragic but heroic story out of Argentina. A story that maybe many of you have seen on TikTok or other vertical social media. But I wanted to take a look at this one myself and share this story with you. It all began with a training flight on July 4, 2026 near the town of Toledo in Cordoba, Argentina. At the Flying Patriot Flight School.
But I found it interesting that he felt comfortable enough to leave this earth with her at the helms of her own plane. Penny said, "I wonder how many hours she had under her belt, but hats off to her." Yeah, definitely for keeping it, because us females, we can be emotional creatures. I would have straight panicked. No lie. Penny said, "But they normally have people in the tower that can talk you down with a manual step by step." Yeah. Penny said, "Argentina, that boy was caught up in probably moving weight and got in over his head." You think so, Penny? You think so? Oh man. So I'm not gonna stay on this too long. Prayers to his family. Thankfully the flight student was able to get herself down and safely, and she can go on to live another day, because that could have been tragic for her too. He was making them midnight runs. Penny. Penny, we're gonna move on over to politics and pressure, y'all. So here in the news in the last few days, we have had another ICE shooting. Unfortunately, a deadly encounter lasting only moments is now raising national questions about immigration enforcement, vehicle tactics, and accountability. On July the 13th, which was yesterday, Monday, an immigration and customs enforcement officer fatally shot a 26-year-old Colombian national, Jonathan Sebastian Duran Guerrero, during an operation in Biddeford, Maine. According to ICE, he attempted to flee in a vehicle and drove in a way that endangered officers. Again, we've seen this before, y'all, and members to the public. Federal officials say that the officer fired because the vehicle presented an immediate threat. So we've heard this before. But that account is being examined closely. Video recorded near the scene shows federal officers surrounding the vehicle and later removing Duran, who was critically wounded. However, the publicly available footage does not clearly show the exact moment the officer fired or conclusively establish that the vehicle's position in that instant, right? So officials have also acknowledged that the involved agents were not wearing body cameras, leaving investigators without what could have been the clearest record of the confrontation. So we got ICE agents running around without body cameras. Maine officials say he may have not been the original target of the immigration operation anyways. Report indicates that he had authorization to work in the United States, adding to questions about why he was confronted and how the encounter escalated too. So the Maine Attorney General's office, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI are now involved in reviewing what happened. His death came less than a week after another ICE officer fatally shot Lorenzo Mr. Lorenzo during a vehicle encounter in Houston. So in both cases, federal officials said vehicles were used or were about to be used as weapons. Witnesses and community advocates have challenged portions of these accounts. So is that always going to be the excuse that, this vehicle is being used as a weapon, so let me fire my weapon and protect my life? So the central issue is larger than either individual case. When an officer approaches a moving vehicle, what tactics reduce the danger rather than create it? Investigators must now determine whether the officer's use of deadly force met the legal requirement of an immediate threat. And until those videos, witnesses' accounts, physical evidence, and officer statements are fully reconciled, that question, of course, remains unanswered. And of course, I got a video for y'all. But it's been happening too often. Why is this continuing to happen? This is what, number 4, number 5 this year alone. So and not only that, the use of deadly force in regular encounters with law enforcement LEOs. So Penny said they're gonna have to reform ICE sooner or later when the victim looks like them. Also, ICE don't have the same training or standards as FBI cops. They don't. They do not. And Penny said they angry down there in Houston too. Absolutely. And it's closer to the border as well, Penny. So I got a video for this, just like I have a video for everything else. So let me pull that up. And then we'll get on, we'll move on to that. And also they said, and I do have another video that goes along with this as well. They're saying that the feds are putting a pause on ICE vehicles, most ICE vehicle stops after all these shootings have been happening. So let's look at this.
Biddeford State House Speaker Ryan Fecteau, a Biddeford resident, reports one person is dead after a shooting involving ICE. The shooting happened this morning near Poole Street and Foss Streets. Officials have since blocked off the area several blocks away from where this happened. Biddeford police say they've responded to provide scene security, but they say they will not be the ones speaking about the shooting itself. We're just seeing new video captured nearby where you can hear the shots. Take a look.
Is that a car?
That person captured on a doorbell camera what sounded like the gunshots. We're following all of this with team coverage. Sam DeCosta is hearing from lawmakers. Max Williams is near an emergency rally just getting underway. But first, let's get right over to Brad Rogers with what we know right now. Brad?
Well, we first learned of the shooting through House Speaker Ryan Fecteau, who is from Biddeford. He confirmed this morning that that one person is dead after a shooting involving ICE agents here in Biddeford. Now, Governor Mills says she has also been briefed on the shooting, but is not releasing details at this time. The incident happened sometime around 7:30 this morning, 2 blocks west of Alfred Street on Poole Street. Right now, Maine State Police, the FBI, and the FBI are on the scene investigating. At this point, we do not know the circumstances that led to the shooting, and that will be the big question, really. What happened to prompt the use of deadly force among ICE agents? After fatal ICE shootings in Minnesota and Texas, today's shooting is already sparking outrage here in Biddeford and throughout the state from people who oppose President Trump's detentions of who ICE agents identify as being in this country illegally. Olivia Clay lives a block from where the deadly shooting took place. She told us she never heard the shots being fired this morning.
I'm disgusted. This is horrible. I mean, the citizens of this country are literally being gunned down in the street for doing nothing, for the color of their skin.
Told members of the press that to go to a staging area 8 blocks from the crime scene where there might be a press conference. That press conference has since been canceled. Biddeford police are directing all inquiries right now to immigrations and customs enforcement. We're not releasing any details yet.
They didn't do the press conference because they was afraid of what was going to come up in the press conference. The people that were going to show up. Guaranteed you. Guarantee you on that one. Penny said, yep, the looking like mini mile security guards with federal power. Yes. I don't know. You know, this is up near Maine. I think it's slim up that way. I don't know what the population look like up that way, but I think it might be slim up that way when it comes to people of color. Other than us white folk up that way. The population can be slim. So now that has happened, though, we'll move on. Now that has happened, the ICE has now suspended most vehicle stops. So 2 fatal shootings in 6 days have now forced a major change in how immigration officers operate on America's roads. The Trump administration has ordered ICE officers to suspend most vehicle stops nationwide while the agency reviews its tactics and conducts additional training. The directive follows the death of Lorenzo, who we just discussed in this last video. Lorenzo and Johan. Lorenzo was in Houston and Johan was in Maine. Both men were shot by immigration officers during encounters involving vehicles. Under the reported guidance, officers are expected to avoid routine vehicle stops unless the operation involves a specific individual accused or convicted of a serious criminal activity. So ICE has not publicly released the complete internal directive, meaning the important details, including how long the suspension will last. So all that remains unclear right now. Vehicle stops are among the most unpredictable encounters in law enforcement. Officers may have limited visibility, drivers may panic or attempt to escape, and agents can quickly find themselves standing beside or in front of a moving vehicle, and we all know that. We know that. So law enforcement experts have long warned that officers should avoid placing themselves directly in a vehicle's path whenever other tactical options are available. But we all know that, you know, these ICE agents aren't heavily trained law enforcement officers. It says once an officer is standing in front of a vehicle, a questionable stop can become a deadly force encounter in seconds. So immigration advocates are calling the suspension a necessary first step, but they also argue that the temporary restrainer will mean little without body cameras. So independent investigations and clear limits on when officers may fire into moving vehicles. My thing is, why fire into a moving vehicle? Hit the tires or something. Supporters of aggressive immigration enforcement argue that agents routinely encounter suspects who flee, ran vehicles, or place the public at risk, and that officers must retain the authority to defend themselves, which I don't disagree with that. If you feel like you're being threatened and a vehicle is coming at you, you got to do what you got to do to save yourself. Self-defense. The suspension does not end immigration operations. It changes one enforcement method while the agency reassesses the danger surrounding roadside encounters. So let's look at this video that comes along with that. Best pause. Here it is.
Telling officers today to stop pulling over vehicles in most cases. That, as the Department of Homeland Security seems to change its story on what happened in Maine. Here's Lilia Luciano in Biddeford.
A home surveillance camera captured the sound of 5 gunshots at 7:17 a.m. Monday morning in Biddeford, Maine. This photo shows multiple bullet holes through the windshield of the car driven by Don Sebastian Duran Guerrero. Seconds later, another surveillance video at 7:18 a.m. shows the white sedan slowing down. Officers approach the car on both sides as it begins to turn in circles for about a minute. More than a minute later, an agent in a white SUV pins Guerrero's car. He's then pulled into the pavement.
I heard him say, I tried to stop.
Daniel Boucher heard the gunshots and saw the aftermath. When you say you'll never forget,
It's something that's horrific. You never forget that. You never forget the attitude of the ICE officers, too. And the ICE officer that shot him was in shock.
This doorbell video shows first responders treating Guerrero, but the 25-year-old father who worked as a delivery driver died at the scene. The Department of Homeland Security maintains when ICE agents approached him, he got in his car and tried to drive away, and that while fearing for public safety, an ICE officer discharged his weapon. But law enforcement sources tell CBS News Guerrero was not the target of ICE's surveillance. Today, another ICE-related death, this time in Florida, after authorities say a man running from ICE agents was struck and killed by a truck. It's the third death involving ICE in a week. Border Czar Tom Homan said the decision to
I didn't even know about that
is
part.
not a policy
I didn't
change.
listen to this whole thing.
Short-term pause just to look at it.
So it happened in Florida too.
And as you can probably hear from the honking, protests continued here today as we learn more about the victim. His father, Guerrero's father, spoke with our partners in Colombia, saying that his son was a loving, hardworking man who left his country to build a better future for his 3-year-old daughter, his wife, and that he was authorized to work in this country.
So it happened in Florida. So there's 3 times within 1 week, y'all. 3 times within a week. Penny said not slim enough to unalive someone. And he said it's open season. Stay safe, y'all. The significance is clear. Federal officials are acknowledging that the current approach create enough risk to require immediate intervention. And the next question is whether this becomes a short pause or the beginning of a lasting change in federal enforcement policy. Yeah, y'all. So that was Policy and Pressure. If y'all are catching this on the rewatch, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave your comments down in the comment section below the video and let me know what you think. We're going to move on to Hometown Rain. We're going to move on to Reality Check. Reality. So y'all know Jay-Z, he had a concert out there at Yankee Stadium, right? More than 40,000 people came to Yankee Stadium expecting a celebration. Let me move this off here because we're not talking about them anymore. A celebration of hip-hop history. Instead, a rush at the gates triggered a security emergency. Jay-Z's third and final anniversary concert at Yankee Stadium was delayed for hours on July 12th after groups of people without tickets allegedly pushed through entrances and overwhelmed security checkpoints. Authorities say the surge occurred while thousands of legitimate ticket holders were still waiting outside. As the situation escalated, the New York Police Department and stadium officials temporarily locked down the venue. Entrances were closed, fans were prevented from moving inside, and the performance could not begin until security teams accounted for the breach and determined that the stadium was safe. The concert was originally expected to begin on Sunday evening. Jay-Z did not take stage until approximately 12:17 Monday morning, more than 4 hours later. So they were 4 hours late. That would have been exhausting. Once the show began, Jay-Z apologized to the crowd and explained that safety had to come before the performance. The concert continued until nearly 3 a.m., featuring appearances by Beyonce, Rihanna, Usher, Pharrell Williams, and other major performers. So despite the chaos shown in the videos outside the stadium, police reported no confirmed arrests connected to the incident. The Yankees, Rock Nation, and Live Nation issued a joint statement blaming the disruption on non-ticketed individuals who overwhelmed security and prevented paying customers from entering. So this incident raises a broader reality check. Large venues rely on layered security, ticket scanning, bag checks, crowd barriers, and controlled access points. When a crowd breaks through even one layer, officials say that they may no longer know exactly who entered, whether everyone was screened or whether prohibited objects were carried inside or not. So the decision to stop entry frustrated thousands of fans, but continuing without restoring control could have created a far more dangerous situation. The concert eventually became a historic night, but before the music could begin, Yankee Stadium provided a reminder that one Uncontrolled crowd surge can turn entertainment into a public safety crisis. Now, as a person who loves to go to concerts, I being in that situation probably would have overwhelmed me, and I probably would have went home if I had not made it inside yet. So I got a video for that too. So let's listen in on what actually happened at the JC concert. Let's see.
And questions are growing after a security breach delayed Jay-Z's Extra Innings concert. Fans had to wait 4 hours after police put Yankee Stadium on lockdown. Now police say it was due to a large group breaking through security. ABC's Hannah Battah has more from Yankee Stadium. Hannah?
Chaos outside Yankee Stadium after a security breach delayed Jay-Z's highly anticipated concert. Thousands of fans were left stranded for hours after police say a large group of people broke through security, putting the entire stadium on lockdown. No one could get in or out.
They bum rushed gate 2. Bum rushed. People went past security, were not checked, and got into the stadium.
The incident unfolding on the third and final night of his sold-out shows featuring hits through the years. The concert, dubbed Extra Innings, starting extra late, originally scheduled to begin at 8 p.m., but the rap mogul not taking the stage until after midnight. The delay capping off a 3-night run filled with surprises. Opening night turned into a family affair, with Beyonce and daughter Blue Ivy joining Jay-Z on stage. And on night 2, a moment years in the making, as Jay-Z reunited with Eminem for the first time since 2010. When Jay-Z finally took to the stage, he apologized for the delay and turmoil.
Really sorry for the inconvenience, but I have to make sure everybody's okay.
In the end, the late-night
I respect
spectacle
that.
was worth the wait as fans were serenaded by Rihanna and Usher.
This is one of the best concerts I've ever been to. He was well worth the wait.
Event organizers in Yankee Stadium saying later in a statement, quote, "The Yankees, Rock Nation, and Live Nation express our deep gratitude to the NYPD and to Yankee Stadium security personnel for their leadership and direction throughout the evening, putting the welfare of attendees above all other considerations." The concert officially wrapped up at 3 this morning.
And questions are growing after a security breach.
Well, at least, he got it together. They got it together and everybody enjoyed themselves. It was an epic concert. So they say. Penny says sounds planned and organized. You know what? It does, because why would a bunch of non-ticket holders come to an event knowing that they couldn't get in? But why would they want to disrupt it as well? Hey, Lisa. Welcome in. She said Riri came through. She was looking gorgeous too. And so was Beyonce. As I said, I'm too conscious to care about Jay-Z. We know what that is over there. Penny says stadiums usually have AI camera recognition. Not enough barriers to disrupt direct access. As I said, they will hire the chaos creation group to make Jay-Z seem like a bigger deal. Ish is all part of the show. His demographic is too old to actually behave like that in real life. Wake up, people. Okay, Classic. Classic said the show was planned to start at midnight. Okay. Classic said all publicly based, paid crowds to bum rush the doors. Nobody went to jail for real. All cappuccino. Classic said, wake up, y'all, and stay woke. Penny said, even bad publicity is publicity. You're right. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that to light because a lot of people were talking about it. I don't know how I would feel being in that situation. Like I said, I get overwhelmed with a lot of crowds sometimes. So I probably would have, if I was not on the inside, I would just have to forfeit my ticket and go and take my tail home. I will say this, I have gone to larger concerts. The town I'm from, our civic center is about 10,000 seats, but I have gone to other venues in San Antonio and Atlanta, Vegas, with 80,000, 100,000 seats. And when I do go, I am tunnel vision all the way. I go find my seat. I sit and I sit down. I do not move or do anything until I'm up out of there. And when I know that concert is over, I beeline it the same way I came in and get to my car so I can get on out of there. I don't play no games. I don't mingle. I don't social. I don't post up on a wall. I don't go run back and forth to the bathroom. I come there, see the show, get my tail on, out the door. That's how I do it. I don't play no games. Penny said you would have been at gate 3 and wouldn't have seen it. Probably not. I probably would have ran home. I probably would have got on out of there because I don't mess around with too big of a crowds. And when I do go to larger venues like that, I like to go alone or with one other person that's on the same game plan as me. Because we gonna get in there and we gonna get out. I will pay extra for upfront parking that's next to the venue, the stadium, the arena, or whatever it is. I will pay extra for that convenience so I can walk straight in the door and get straight out. And I ain't, because I tell you this, I went Tycoon Festival in Atlanta. Chris Brown was the headliner, and it was a whole bunch of people before him. Monica 112, Bryson Tiller, Ashanti, Nelly, Keith Sweat. Who else came that night? It was a bunch. I got there at 7. I didn't leave after 1. That's how many acts they had before Chris came. But I had posted something in my stories, and one of my classmates was like, April, don't you know Missy Elliott was like 5 seats down from you? Because I splurged on myself. I had got me a front row ticket. And I'm like, no, I didn't realize that, because when I was there, I focused on the stage and I got on. She said, yeah, you had a whole bunch of celebrities around me. I was there for one reason, the entertainment, and I got on. Because she was like, you was right there. I missed out. I didn't get none of that. Class said publicity stunt. Class said 45-year-old aren't organizing a door rush. He said capping cappuccino. Yeah, I don't play with large crowds. I go there for the entertainment. I get on. I don't mix and mingle. I'm not buying no merch. I'm not buying no food, no drinks or nothing. If I'm not hydrated before I get there, then I'll be SOL. For real. Sometimes I like to I like to go to concerts other than Chris Brown. But he's a great entertainer. Usher's a great entertainer. Skull said that all was staged. Y'all think it's trying to be hyped up? Trying to hype it up? Make it bigger than what it is? Maybe so, y'all. So I think I have one more. Do I have one more segment? I think I have one more segment. No, I have 2 more. Hometown Rain and then the Soul Reset. And then we're going to get on out of here. Penny said, like I'm bright. Honestly, Penny, he borderline. My preference, he's borderline because he a little bit too light. I prefer melanin. Prefer it. But yeah. So let's move on. We're gonna move on to hey, I looked at tickets again. And I was like, I looked at floor seats though, Lisa, and I was looking at some people saying that the floor seats you can't see the stage, like the main stage from the floor seats. So I'm gonna look again. I have been looking. I'm very indecisive when it comes to selecting tickets. So yeah, I'm gonna look again. I got a little bit of time. So I'm working on it. It's a strong possibility. And I will keep you informed and let you know so we can do dinner or something or get caught up. Penny said Jay-Z trying to get his rep back since he cut the locks. Oh, you think so? Penny said, yeah, Superdome isn't great on the floor. A lot of them aren't. It just depends, especially if you're looking over people. I like to try to do the 100 section for the most part, like that first section up top, up above the floor seats. International School said, wait till the day of people saying they've been getting good seats for the low on the day of. Yeah, but I don't want to take that chance, Go. I want to take that chance. Because, some people, they have said that. I've seen it on TikTok and other places, YouTube, saying we going down here. We don't have a ticket yet, but we ready to go inside, So I don't want to chance it if I do it. I don't want to chance it. So yeah. So let's move on. We're gonna move on to hometown rain. Hometown rain. Yeah, this was interesting to me too. What's Skull say? What Skull said she's not trying to miss her. I haven't purchased tickets at all. I'm the kind, Penny, you might not know, but I like to travel. I like to go to different places. I went to Vegas to see Usher, San Antonio to see Chris Brown. I'm not too far from Atlanta, but I really don't want to be in Atlanta for this one. I said, I'm gonna be quiet, y'all. Class. What you trying to say, Class? Don't have to say what you're gonna say, Class. Still said none of their shows are sold out simply because of how high the prices are. You're right. You're right. But the resale tickets that's on there are ridiculous. They like triple and double the original price. Now, I did check into that, and I'm like, for real, you really trying to get this much money for this seat? No, it's not working. Oh, I'm not tracking. Class, sometimes I can be slow. Things go over my head. I'm not tracking. I ain't tracking Classic. Text me. Resale, yeah. Lisa said resale is crazy. It is, and some people I don't. The ticket that I bought for the Tycoon Festival was resale, and I think it was decent because I had a front row seat. I think it was real decent. I think I lucked up on that one. So, but yeah, let me we're gonna move on because I can stay here talking about this. Facts, but Rain trying to see Chris Brown, not Jesus. Oh man. Hometown Rain is coming up, y'all. Let's do Hometown Rain so we can get on out of here. And I'll probably stay up for Tez's nightcap, see what's going on nightcap. I might try to make an appearance, maybe. What y'all talking about? Where Tez in here? What y'all talking about tonight? Hometown Rain, where we at? And you know what? I want Classic's opinion on this too. I got 2 more segments left, maybe. How long I been on, y'all? Per hour? I might do this other segment too. Might. If not, I'll bring it up another time. So I want Classic opinion on this because I know he'll probably have a strong opinion, and maybe Tez too, and maybe Penny. So Senator Raphael Warnock, right, out of Georgia. For y'all don't know, my hometown is in Georgia. He has backed housing restrictions for the longest. So for years, families looking for a starter home have complained that they are not only competing against other buyers, but they're also competing against corporations with billions of dollars because a housing restriction that has been backed by Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock has now become federal law as part of the bipartisan 21st Century Road to Housing Act. The provision limits the ability of large institutional investors and private equity-backed companies to continue purchasing single-family homes. Under that measure, covered institutional investors generally cannot expand their holdings beyond 350 single-family properties. The goal is to prevent large corporations from buying entire groups of homes and converting them into permanent rental portfolios. Supporters argue that corporate buyers frequently make cash offers, purchase properties in bulk, and outbid families who need mortgages. Once those homes become rentals, they may never return to the traditional home ownership market. Now, it says that the restriction does not prohibit an individual landlord from owning a few rental homes, nor does it prevent ordinary families from purchasing investment properties. It largely targets institutional entities that accumulate hundreds or thousands of houses at a time. So Warnock says the policy is particularly important in Georgia because where investors have purchased significant numbers of homes in and around like the metro Atlanta area. So the legislation received bipartisan support as lawmakers face growing pressure over housing affordability, limited inventory, and rising rents. However, the law is not a complete solution to the housing crisis. Economists, and housing experts note that high prices are also being driven by construction shortages, zoning restrictions, labor and material costs, interest rates, and years of underbuilding. So that's limiting corporate purchases may increase competition for families, but it will not automatically create enough new homes. So there's also still questions about enforcement and exemptions and how corporations structure affiliated companies to remain below ownership limits. Still, the law represents a significant policy shift, so for the first time, the federal government is placing a direct ceiling on how deeply major investors can move into America's single family housing markets. So that message is clear. A house should first be treated as a potential home, not just simply another asset in a corporate portfolio. I don't know, y'all got some comments. Lisa said, I got to see Usher though, but I'm not eating no chicken. All right, Lisa. Sco said, Little Penny, he laughing at you. Little Penny said, it's a good law, but it won't affect inventory that is already purchased or leased by investment firms. I agree, Penny. I always said that if I ever won the lottery, you got to play to win. But if I ever come across some major money in that sense or and gainfully win, I'm going to say win. I am financially fruitful and what you call, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. If I have enough finances to ever build some properties like duplexes, quadplexes, triplexes and whatnot, I would love to do that and offer affordable housing to people who cannot afford these traditional rents around here. Recently, I was looking for a place to rent, and honestly, for the quality of house now versus how much they want for the house every month, it's like, geez, what am I paying for? Just a roof over my head? Because the quality is not great, but you want me to pay luxury prices for a place that's not luxury. Penny said, and property tax is driven by the appraisal value of a new sale prices. So that's really going to be the barrier for affordability. I agree, Penny. And y'all know I got a video, so let me pull that up. I was gonna do a sports segment, but I'm not gonna do that. I got too many segments tonight. I should have rethought about it. Thought about this again. So let me see. And these videos, why are these videos kind of long? Oh, yeah.
First passed Congress, but it was abruptly canceled.
I'm gonna pull it back.
Begin this morning with what should have been a big win for all Americans. Just hours ago at midnight, the bipartisan housing affordability bill became law. This landmark bill is expected to make it easier and more affordable for all of us to buy a home, which hits at a critical issue ahead of the midterm elections. This is a rare accomplishment from this Congress that should have come with a lot of fanfare. Everybody should be really excited. But if you remember, there was going to be a big bill signing ceremony 17 days ago after it first passed Congress, but it was abruptly canceled hours before the event. That's because Donald Trump was so concerned about getting his voter suppression law bill, the Save America Act, passed, that he refused to sign his name on the bill. And yesterday, even after the pleas from members of his own party, Trump continued his tantrum and wouldn't sign it. But since he also didn't veto the bill, it quietly became law at midnight. There's some civics for you. It's all part of his laser focus on trying to reshape and exert control over the federal elections rather than try to win it on the issues, to the extent that he wouldn't highlight a bill that might actually help Republicans in November. I talked to them. They wanted it. Just this week, Trump fired the last 3 members of the Bipartisan Election Assistance Commission. You've never heard of it because that's the point. They're supposed to be in the background. This is an agency whose function is to help state officials nationwide with tasks like certifying voting systems and maintaining the National Mail Voter Registration Form. Now, there is no one left at this point to carry out those duties. Then there are the federal officials requiring states to change the way they conduct elections.
They're talking about voting and whatnot. I was just worried about the housing bill. Let me see if I got something else. I think I got another video about the housing bill from Warnock. So let me see. Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's a great day in the city of Atlanta.
Or out of the land, and this type of provision.
And so Georgians who are just looking to own their piece of the American dream. Housing is dignity. Housing is stability.
Hold on.
Housing is hope. And so I'm glad to have Mayor Andre Dickens, City Council member Andrea Boone, who both grew up here, and Soulful Shears Barbershop owner Jacob Parcell, along with his son. Being in the Adamsville neighborhood fills me with immense pride by large corporations swooping in and literally buying up hundreds, thousands of homes. I hear from Georgians like Jacob all the time about how hard, you heard from him today, how hard it is to buy a home. Here is somebody doing all the things we tell folks to do, playing by the rules. He's a small business owner in our community, generating income for others' possibility, working every day.
And
still it's hard to buy a home. With more than 1 in 4 single-family rental homes, over 72,000 homes owned by large private equity investors. The home directly behind me is one of many across Georgia that have been bought up by large corporations.
Yeah.
And are no longer available for hardworking Georgians like Jacob who want to raise their children.
It's tough. It's tough purchasing a home too, especially in this economy, and especially with these wages that we have. Most homes that you come across now are upwards of or over $200,000. Even the more like moderate older homes are now running up to that. Well, in my area, $200,000 and beyond. And when you get that finance and that mortgage you have, yeah, it could be a little bit less than the rent, that you're paying to these other rental companies, but then you have the responsibilities of maintaining your own home, maintenance, care, and all that stuff. So home ownership can be a lot for people. So maybe this, will help those who are seeking those homes that cost a little bit less that these corporations tend to buy up everywhere. So Penny said new construction changes the game, unfortunately. Classic says stream 1 hour every night, no matter what, and I bet you get that bread faster than you imagine. Write it down and work. I'm gonna hold you to that, Classic. Classic said this ish right here is so much simpler for women. Go be great, Rain. Thank you, Classic. Thank you for always believing in me, Classic too. Penny said, "Woo, that boy Fro can't tell him nothing." Yeah, it was beautiful, wasn't it? Penny said, "Lost temptation." Penny said, "The housing bill will still help more white families." Sorry, right? No offense taken. Than black and brown because the rate's just as expensive, even with government assistance. Yes, I agree with you on that. Penny said the mortgage interest rates is stupid crazy too. Unfortunately, yes. Penny said rent in most cases 3-to-1 as opposed to owning, and 4-to-1 in some cases. Yeah, it's tough out here. Class said we are all renting. Yeah, because do we really own our land? I know how you feel about that, Class. I know your stance on that. Because if we own something, then why should we have to pay taxes on it? That's tough. I'm gonna do the wellness check. I think I've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes. I wasn't trying to be on here this long, but I had so many stories. I'm gonna do the wellness check and then the soul reset, and then we're gonna be out of here. Because the wellness check is important actually, because we need to be aware of what's going on in these streets when it comes to our food. Penny said, "Yep, taxes get you till you check out, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's when we buy, It's on the gas. It's on the food we eat. Different taxes on the food you eat. The fruits and vegetables have a different tax versus the home goods have a different tax. The meats have a different tax. It seems like everything is taxed. Our tax for our vehicles are taxed. Everything is taxed. Everything. So we're gonna move on to our wellness check, and then we'll do soul reset. Then we get on out of here. So the wellness watch is next, y'all. So in wellness check, where my notes at? Did I miss it? Yeah. Cyclospora outbreak and Taco Bell menu suspensions. A microscopic. I'm glad y'all here help me work on my diction. Put me up here. Microscopic parasite that cannot be seen, smelled, or tasted has now sickened people across more than 30 states, and it is beginning to affect restaurant menus. Federal health officials are investigating a growing outbreak of cyclosporiasis. Maybe I said it right. An intestinal illness caused by the parasite Cyclospora. We're not going to try that. The outbreak has produced more than 1,600 confirmed cases and over 140 hospitalizations across at least 34 states. No deaths have been reported as of yet. Cyclospora is commonly spread when people consume food or water contaminated with microscopic traces of infected human waste. In the United States, outbreaks has often been associated with imported fresh produce, including leafy greens and herbs. Symptoms can include watery, I'm going to call it loose bowel syndrome, LBS, diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, fatigue, loss of appetite, and weight loss. Unlike many brief stomach illnesses, symptoms may continue for weeks and can appear to improve before returning. Taco Bell, if y'all consume Taco Bell, I know a lot of people don't. I don't, for the most part. I can't tell you the last time I had it. It's been some years. Has temporarily removed several fresh ingredients from its menus at selected restaurants as a precaution. Depending on the location, those ingredients have included lettuce, cilantro, onions, pico de gallo, and guacamole. Here is the critical distinction. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, has not confirmed that Taco Bell caused the outbreak. Health officials have not publicly identified a specific restaurant chain, supplier, or a single ingredient as a source. The company says the removals are precautionary and that it is cooperating with health authorities. Consumers should also understand that washing produce can reduce contamination, but many may not eliminate the cyclospora completely. The parasite can cling to the surface of fruits and vegetables and herbs. So anyone experiencing persistent watery diarrhea, especially after eating fresh produce, should contact a healthcare provider. Cyclosporiasis can be confirmed through laboratory testing and is generally treated with prescription antibiotics. The main message tonight is caution without panic. Investigation is still underway. Taco Bell has not been confirmed as a source, and temporary menu changes should not be mistaken for proof. But when symptoms persist beyond a typical stomach illness, they should not be ignored. So yeah, Penny said, Uncle Sugar Daddy Sam. Penny said, yeah, they got the 7K with explosive diarrhea. Penny said, I read an article they're trying to connect it to Taco Bell. Oh, are they, Penny? So maybe Taco Bell is trying to be proactive and say, hey, we taking these ingredients off just as being, trying to make sure that we don't spread it any further. Yeah, the parasite. That parasite right there. That one right there. Penny said, don't you think they should have a better and faster system after the vid? I don't know, Penny, because these things, I think they take time because it could be different for different people. It could be like, just a quick 24-hour stomach virus you may have that you could have picked up from anywhere, really. Or it could be something you ate from a restaurant that didn't prepare their food correctly. Or it could be something from your own home where you didn't, prepare your food correctly as well. A lot of people don't realize washing your food, washing your vegetables and fruits are you should be doing that. Some people think you can bring them straight home from the store and just take a bite out of an apple or the lettuce that's in there. They think you just rip it off and use it as is. Even if it says pre-washed, I still try to go ahead and I go ahead and wash it as well when I get it. Penny says CDC tracking the same as the last. But I'm gonna say this, Penny. Our bodies, we need some germs to help fight off, to build up that immune system to help fight off other germs, those germs as well. And I know that the body needs those nutrients and vitamins from natural foods and fruits and vegetables to fight off those illnesses as well. So Penny said, no, we got to wash them unless they grow in the backyard. I think we need to wash them too when they grow in the backyard because you got these bugs flying around. You don't know what they're carrying. The bugs that feast on your stuff in the backyard. So I think we need to be washing everything we come across. Let me see if I got a video for this. I think I do. Hold on. That video too long. This is what we're going.
Unpleasant symptoms tied to a parasitic illness that so far has no official cause. Our Carter Evans now with what's suspected of being behind the outbreak and how you can stay safe.
Pay close attention on your next trip to the produce aisle. The CDC is looking into several items potentially contaminated with the Cyclospora parasite that causes severe stomach sickness. Today, CDC doctors pointed to an alarming increase in illnesses in a special conference call.
The team's dual tests don't always screen for this parasite. You may need to specifically request testing for Cyclospora.
Since May 1st, the CDC's confirmed 1,645 cases of cyclosporiasis in 34 states. More than 5,100 additional reports still need to be investigated, and they say there could be a link between cases in Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Michigan, which has the most cases.
Do you have any idea what this outbreak is linked to?
From 1,000 interviews, one of the signals that keeps coming up is lettuce and salad greens.
Fast food giant Taco Bell has voluntarily removed some ingredients from select stores, but the CDC says there's no direct link.
Some doctors are recommending that you avoid bag lettuce altogether. Instead, you should opt, they say, for a whole head of lettuce and peel off the first 3 layers and then wash the remaining leaves individually. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, they say you should scrub them with a brush under running water, but they say the safest option is to cook your produce to at least 158 degrees.
The incubation could be a week or even 2 weeks. That lag time does make the investigation a little bit harder to do.
Who remembers what they ate 2 weeks ago?
Exactly.
The Washington Post is now...
So, wait. So it'll take 2 weeks for me to know if I have this parasite or not? And then they said cook your vegetables to at least 150 degrees? What if I'm a raw vegetarian? What if I want to eat just raw? What if I want to have a salad? I can't cook my salad.
Reporting that federal and state officials are investigating whether or not certain Taco Bell restaurants played a role in the outbreak. When asked about it today, the CDC would not answer the question directly. Tony?
Carter, thank you very much.
In a dominant performance, Spain defeated.
Oh, we'll talk about it. Well, I'll talk about it next time. I'm not going to do my sports segment today. So, yeah, make sure y'all wash your vegetables, cook your food to the right degrees and whatnot. Just be aware what you're what you're consuming. Make sure you do that. Penny said we may all be playing old, may not. Yeah, Penny, they do be having those antibiotic resistant change. Yeah, they do. Yeah, the parasite only dies with the heat. Okay, Penny. You raw. SOL. I think I got you, Penny. I got you, Penny. So yeah, if y'all are catching this on the rewatch, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Do everything that's free. If they charge you, let me know. I'm seeing Classic guys on it. He'll handle that. He always does. So yeah, let me move on to my last segment, which is Soul Reset. And then we're gonna get on out of here so we can get up with Tez and see what they talking about tonight over there. So for my last segment, Soul Reset, I came across a story about this young boy. I forget where he's from. Let me see where he's from. In North Carolina. Sometimes a community does not need a major program, a government grant, or a public campaign to come together. Sometimes it only needs a 4-year-old standing in his yard saying, hey, hello. Roman Butzlav lives in Concord, North Carolina, where greeting his neighbors became part of his daily routine. He would stand outside, wave at people passing by, and begin conversations with almost anyone willing to stop. To the neighborhood, Roman appeared to be cheerful and outgoing, but his mother, Anna, says that underneath his bright personality was what she described as inner loneliness. Inner loneliness. Roman's parents had separated. His father moved to Florida, and his grandparents lived in other states. The people he loved were suddenly farther away, and Roman began looking for connection close to home. That connection started across the street with neighbor Wade. A simple wave became a friendship. One introduction led to another. Neighbors began stopping to speak, spending time with Roman, and eventually getting to know each other. So today, Roman's refrigerator is covered with photographs of the people he now considers part of his extended family. His mother says the loneliness that once weighed on him has begun to disappear. But Roman did more than just build a support system for himself. He helped create one for the entire neighborhood. Roughly a dozen neighbors who once barely knew each other now communicate. They gather and they look out for one another. The story turns an old saying around. We often hear it takes a village to raise a child. So in Roman's neighborhood, it took one child to remind the village that it existed. And maybe that is tonight's Soul Reset. We often wait for someone else to create community. We assume people want to be left alone, or we become too busy to introduce ourselves. Roman did something simpler. He waved, he spoke, he kept showing up. And one small act of openness transformed strangers into neighbors and neighbors into family. So let me pull that video up for y'all, and then we're going to get on out of here. Where is Roman at? There we go. And this is from CBS News with Steve Hartman. So we're going to give credit where credit's due on this. I found that so sweet. Yeah. That's a sweet little story how that one little 4-year-old got everybody together with just a little act of kindness. Penny said, well, Classic put up the fire emojis. Thank you, Classic. Penny said, great show. Thank you, Penny. He said, he's friendly, good young man. He will turn out well. I hope so. Penny said, yeah, he's not going to be able to sneak out the house at all. He got all them neighbors around when he get older. If they choose to stay there, when he get older, that neighbor gonna be like, hey, where you going? Making that phone call. Hey, Rue. Welcome in. Hey, Rue, you caught me at the end, love. I'm about to get off here, but go over to Ted's page. The Ted's down. He's about to go on live in a little bit. I'm gonna make an entrance over there for a little while before I get ready to turn in for tonight. So thank you everybody for coming in. I appreciate y'all being here. This was a late night edition of Weekly Rain Report. I didn't get to y'all on Sunday, so I figured I'll bring y'all something tonight. And I know everybody keep asking me about the call-in show. I'm gonna bring the call-in show back. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm trying to be creative on that end. Sometimes my creativeness don't come to me. And I'm working on being more confident and coming on here too as well. But yeah, thank y'all for spending time with me tonight. Going through some of these top stories of the week. We talked about Nolan Wells, how they may be bringing in the FBI. There's talks of them bringing in the FBI to help with the investigation. We talked about these ICE shootings and what's going on with that, maybe changing the regulations on that part and how they deal with encounters with vehicles. We did also talk about this parasite that's looming around in these streets, giving people loose booty syndrome and other things, being uncomfortable and whatnot. Make sure y'all wash y'all food and whatnot and really pay attention to what you're ingesting. And we did talk about the housing bill that they passed without Trump's signature to help with affordable housing and to help these people, these private investors not take up all these housing things, the housing market. So yeah, and we covered Little Roman in North Carolina that says hey, and he brought his whole neighborhood together. Yeah, so I appreciate y'all being here. Tez was in here. Penny stayed in here the whole time. Thank you for coming in. These few people, new people came in early. Skull dropped by. Classic was in here. Lisa was in here. So yeah, thank y'all for stopping in. And hey, Rue popped in at the end. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. It was a great show how it was. I appreciate you. Not loose booty. That's the LBS. Loose booty syndrome. Penny, see you next time. Penny, y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night too. I'm not for certain the direction we're going with the show, but make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night. Probably on it's gonna be on my channel. I'm not for certain the time, but our show we'll post it up. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at Conversation with Soft Rain. And make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. I know most of the people in here have already done that. Turn on your notifications so you know when I'm going live. I know tonight was last minute. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. Check the page tomorrow. And I'll try to post it too on Instagram and whatnot. So we'll do a show tomorrow. And I gotta get to get this live call-in show back rolling too as well. I'm gonna do it, y'all. I'm gonna do it. I'm working on it. So yeah. And of course, make sure y'all tap into the Raw Society Coalition. That consists of myself, Soft Rain, Classic Codes, you saw them in the chat. The Ted's Down, you show them in the chat. Souls of Thought, and Uncle Plug TV. Make sure y'all hit up all those pages, subscribe to all those channels. We bring you great content 7 days a week, live 7 days a week, just about. There's a few weeks that do pass where we don't get all 7 days. Somebody's going live every day. Tez, Midday News, Classic, Afternoon, Sociology, current events and whatnot. Souls of Thought, the No Middleman panel with me, myself, Souls of Thought. We hit y'all in the evenings on Mondays and Tuesdays. Ooh, we got so many shows, y'all. Sunday service on Sundays, 1181 Pressure Plays Sports Show with Plug and Uncle Plug, with Plug and Souls, and Plug does his story time on Sundays, and Plugged Into the Dough on Monday evenings, and The Human Experience. Tez has Nightcap tonight. Make sure y'all go over to Ted's channel. I don't even know if he got it posted yet. Make sure y'all go over to Ted's channel. They be having some epic conversations over there on that side. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. So y'all make sure y'all stay tapped in, and your girl is out. I'll see y'all next time.
It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain. Yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.